cast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
You know what? I miss the days where the Canucks were as hated as Nickelback.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
A happy hump day and welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks and also a Canucks writer since way back in 2013, currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into today's weird episode comparing the Canucks to Nickelback. What? Before we do that, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks. You know why? Because it's your Canucks every damn day, even in the middle of summer, baby. And you know what? We're part of that Locked On Podcast Network. They do the most for sports fans across the world. And for our show, if you haven't done so already, make sure you go subscribe, like, follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. I also got to let you know today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As the playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to, but this summer FanDuel's hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone, every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. I'm getting started on this show without my co-host Kyle Bowen, stuck in traffic, but hey, we got things to do. So we're getting going here on Locked On Canucks, comparing the Canucks to Nickelback, okay? And you know what? This stems from two things. One, Nickelback, they just released that documentary, okay? Hate to Love. Hate to Love, okay? They use the word love in the title for the most hated band in the world. And let's compare the Canucks to Nickelback, okay? More importantly, I think, what can the Canucks learn from Nickelback's success? Let's draw some parallels between Chad Kruger, who's somewhat of a BC bud, okay? You know, born in Alberta, actually born in Oilers country, but has lived in the lower mainland for a long, long time. I got a Chad Kruger story to share later on. But let's compare the Canucks to Nickelback, draw some parallels, and see what can they learn from their success. You know, since we're talking about an international superstar band in Nickelback, let's also talk about some international hockey, okay? We'll get to that as well. The excitement for the Olympics. Do we care about the four nations? Are you going to cheer for America or are you going to cheer for Canada? Because, again, the Canucks got more good Americans than they got good Canadians, okay? But let's kick it off with the Canadians, okay? Nickelback. It took a long time for them to actually blow up, right? The same with all bands. And to me, the big parallel is, you know, Nickelback trying to figure things out, trying to become famous, playing in front of 5 people at different clubs. I compare that to the Jim Benning days of your Vancouver Canucks, okay? Because it took this team a decade of sadness, of futility. And you listening right now, you stuck through it. Or, hey, maybe you ignored it and you just started to show up again recently. And that's cool too, because not everyone is as crazy as myself or the diehards of this market to follow this team through 10 years of pretty bad hockey. So again, it took Nickelback a while to find their success, but when they hit their success with that album, Silver Side Up, with How You Remind Me, Never Again, I'm not going to lie, you know, it's, I'll share some opinions about Nickelback later on, but I'm more or less a Nickelback fan, okay? They got their flaws. I don't think they deserve all the hate, but I'm more or less a Nickelback fan. But again, it took the Canucks, you know, a long time to find their success, right? There was a blip here and there, and, you know, Nickelback had a single here or there too before they blew up. But then out of nowhere, again, most teams or most prognosticators at the beginning of last season were picking the Canucks to miss the playoffs. And what did they do? Not only did they make the playoffs, they won the division. They finished one of the best records in hockey, and they were the 5th last team standing in the NHL playoffs. Again, I think the Canucks season last year surprised me. It surprised everyone in this market, okay? Unless you're just, you bleed that blue and green so hard that you believe your team's going to win the cup every year, which again, when your Canucks haven't won a cup in 54 years of existence, I don't know why you necessarily believe that. But it is what it is, okay? So again, the Canucks even though they were one of the best teams in the NHL last season. I'm starting to wonder, can they sustain it? That's the big question moving forward. And, if we're comparing this to Nickelback, after Silver Set Up, they released, in my opinion, which was another great album, The Long Road, with the Someday, Somehow. I know Kyle loves that song. I love that album, but commercially it wasn't as successful. Nowhere near as successful. And I wonder if the Canucks are going to have another blip in the road similar to that next season, to be honest. Because, again, they only rode that PDO wave for a while. Thatcher Demko, one of the best goalies in the NHL. Miller, 100 points. Besser had a career season. Can they still sustain the success, even though so many guys had career seasons? I'm kind of skeptical, to be honest. And I think my prediction right now, if I were trying to lay out the map for next season, would be that I think the Canucks might take a step back during the regular season, but hopefully it's good enough to make the playoffs. I believe this team is still very much a playoff caliber team, but the main thing is winning Stanley Cups. It don't really matter what the team does in the regular season, as long as they make the dance and give the city something to get excited about. And I'm going to draw one more parallel because Nickelback, they released The Long Road, not as successful as when they blew up. And then after that, All the Right Reasons in 2005 was commercially one of the best albums of all time. I think it's actually I think it's the highest selling rock album of all time, which it's going to make a lot of people puke in their mouth. But hey, this is coming from the band that wrote something in your mouth, okay? Something's in your mouth, buddy. Whether it's puke, whether it's who knows? Who knows? So for me, the parallel here is I think this Canucks team might be best positioned to win a Stanley Cup in 2026. That's not what you want to hear. That's 2 years away. Kyle's not going to want to hear that when he goes and listens back to this as well. But I do think the Canucks maybe have a bit more learning to do. And obviously, luck's got to go your way too. But I think the Canucks might have a bit more learning to do in the playoffs before they are ready to win a Stanley Cup. But again, this window's not long. I think this window's going to be 3 years because JT Miller is not going to be an elite number one center, an elite 100-point player forever. The guy's 31. But I think he's probably got another 3 to 4 years left in him. Thatcher Demko, 2 years left on his deal. Quinn Hughes, 3 years left on his deal. The window right now is now for your Vancouver Canucks to go get it done, okay? And I want to mention one more thing, right? Nickelback, incredibly disrespected. I think they deserve some of that hate, to be honest with you, because in my opinion, Nickelback, I'm not going to say they're sellouts, but they got kind of sappy, okay? Speaking of sappy, I see him here now. My co-host, Kyle Bowen. Kyle, I've been talking about the parallels between the Canucks and Nickelback, and I'm just about to get into why Nickelback is so disrespected. And the Canucks are disrespected right now, too. But first and foremost, how you doing, buddy?
Can you hear me? Am I here?
Oh, yeah.
No. You can hear me? You can hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. How do I feel about Nickelback? Nickelback, man. That's an iconic rock band, man. Right up there with Fleetwood Mac when it comes to the best rock bands of all time. Right up there with the Beatles when it comes to the most influential musicians in the game. Straight up. Right up there with the Beaver. Right up there with the iced cappuccino from Tim Hortons when it comes to Canadian icons, okay? For real. Look at this photograph. I'm telling my kids don't make me laugh. Come on, man. My life changed after I heard that. Anyways, are the Canucks the next Nickelback? Sure, why not? Why not? Let's do it. Let's prove all these doubters wrong. FanDuel, what are you doing, dude? Nashville? Really? Nashville? Come on,
Well,
man.
let's bring this up. I've been tying parallels here between the Canucks and Nickelback. You can go listen back to that. But I think one of the main points is that Nickelback got a lot of disrespect. Some of it deserved in the sense that they did kind of get sappy. Like I feel like Nickelback either tried to be like too heavy rock or too sappy, and I'm not a big fan of the sappy stuff personally. But
why,
still
dude?
a very
Come on,
successful
man.
band.
Oh my god, bro. Come on. Like, why is everyone so?
It's not my thing. Some sappy songs are nice, but a lot of it was just kind of like too corny, too cheesy for me. But that's one man's opinion.
Dude.
But here's the thing.
Well,
I think
hold
Nickelback
up. Okay,
didn't
first
deserve-
off, let me hit you in the face with something. Okay, corny. Oh, it's so corny and so cheesy. Okay, who doesn't like corn and who doesn't like cheese? Exactly.
I'm just saying, like some Nickelback songs are, like I don't know, just not for me, man. I liked them, kind of late '90s, early 2000s, personally. But again, I don't think they deserve to be the most hated band in the world, and they got a lot of disrespect. And right now, the Canucks are also getting a lot of disrespect. Okay, look at these cup odds from FanDuel. Okay, the Canucks right now have the 14th best odds of winning the Cup next season, according to FanDuel. Okay, the Oilers now have vaulted in first place after good free agency. Then you got Florida, Dallas, New Jersey, who missed the playoffs, Colorado, Carolina, the Rangers, the Leafs, with the almost double, or the Canucks are almost double the odds of the Leafs to win. Nashville, Vegas,
Damn.
Boston, Tampa, LA, and then your Vancouver Canucks. I mean, that's crazy to me. The Canucks have the 14th best odds to win the Cup next season, according to FanDuel. They have the 4th best odds of winning their division behind Edmonton, Vegas, and LA. To me, that's crazy. It's a lot of disrespect for a team who, again, was one of the best teams in the NHL last season, who didn't get discernibly worse. And yeah, to me, it's crazy. But again, much like Nickelback just kept pounded through, okay? They kept pounding through. They kept doing shows. They kept being successful. And I think the Canucks are positioned to do the same here under Rick Tocchet. And I think JT Miller or Chad Kruger, man, the guy just doesn't give an F. Damn,
straight up. So like, what would you give this Nickelback documentary that you watched with your family? Like, you forced your family to watch this on a Sunday movie night. It's on Netflix or something. Like, what would you rate this documentary? What's it called? Not Like Us? No, that's the Kendrick Lamar song.
Not like, yeah, no, it's called Hate to Love. I think it's like Hate to Love Nickelback or something like that.
Hate
I wasn't
to
going
Love,
to
man.
my kids, but yeah, wifey and I sat down and watched it about a week or so ago. I thought it was pretty good, man. Like it humanized them a bit for me. Like, gave them the human element. I know Chad Kruger's going to be a bit of a dick. But, I think it did humanize, what they went through. Like, and they got so much hate, right? Like, think about your face being a negative meme, like, all over the internet for not really any good reason. So, I give it like an 8 out of 10. And to me, man, it's just nice to hear some Nickelback songs, like, Nickelback to me is an 8 out of 10 band. I really like Nickelback. My favorite band. What's that?
Damn, you said 8 out of 10 band after calling them corny and cheese. Like, you were definitely one of those haters that...
No, I definitely wasn't, bro. Okay, bro. My first album was The Long Road. Silver Side Up's still one of my favorite albums of all time. I just feel like, after like 2005, when they released All the Right Reasons, it's just kind of became like cheesy and sappy. There's still some songs I love for sure, but didn't have the same punch for me as the early days. I hope that's not the same for the Canucks, man. I hope the Canucks are going onwards and upwards, man. And Nickelback getting one of the most successful bands of all time. I want this Canucks team, this core, to be one of the best Canucks cores of all time too.
Well, man, I see the parallels between Nickelback and the Canucks. I really do. And let's go prove these doubters wrong, right? A lot of people talking about how the Canucks fans or the Canucks are just annoying in general. Like, when they're successful, like, they're annoying. There's a connection right there. Again, when you're good and you're that grand, Nickelback, what, the highest selling rock band of all time? Is that some BS? Again, I feel as if they invented music, like they reinvented music. Honestly speaking, like, is there a Tupac without Nickelback? Is there a Notorious B.I.G. without Nickelback? What? Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing, man? It's just the truth. It's just the truth, man. Is there a James Brown without Nickelback? I think about those things quite often because I work out of a studio and I'm like, how did we just do what they did? But they were just so fresh, man. Like, who? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna stop. This is not the Nickelback podcast. Okay, can we talk more about how Trevor Beggs and Kyle Bowen are going to get their American citizenship, because we're going to cheer for Team USA in the Olympics when they face off in this best on best ice hockey tournament that's happening in a couple years? Because, man, oh man, the Vancouver Canucks, they're America's team. It's looking like that.
America. Yeah, we'll get to that on the other side. International hockey, America versus Canada, the Four Nations, the Olympics, previewing that from a Canucks standpoint. I also want to get into, maybe to end off the show, the most hated Canucks right now, or who could be the most hated Canucks next season. Because with Nickelback, there's always a lot of hate around, okay? So let's talk about some hate as well. But before we do all of that, let's shout out our friends over at eBay Motors. You know the deal. Passion, drive, and patience. That's the formula for winning championships, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Maybe even a massage chair. Hey, that's safe to drive with, right? No matter what, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts to choose from for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash, baby. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home Huge wins. Oh, yeah. Keep your ride or die live at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay guarantee fit only available to U.S. customers.
Boom, 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 bam. People, we are back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks, Kyle Bowen, Trevor Beggs, on this July 10th morning, okay? There is absolutely no Canucks news happening right now. Yeah, Beggsy and I are here, every day? Every day at the Don't Doze Art Lab, because we care about the West Coast buys, and we love each other, and we love talking to each other, and we love talking to you and you, and you and you, and you and you. And we also love talking to our haters, too. You want to talk about our connection with Nickelback? Bro, we got a lot of haters. A lot of haters, okay? A lot of haters. So not gonna lie, every once in a while, I look at some of the comments, and we got some comments that get, like, locked up in, like, some secret folder, like, they don't even get shown to the public, and man, oh, man. People really not liking us, man. For real. There was one comment talking about how they hate Trevor and how he takes so long to, like, start the show off. It takes him, like, 3 or 4 minutes. It's like, dude, you don't even see the fast forward button. Like, you got to leave a hate comment. Like, you got to call out Trevor when you can just press the fast forward comment. Like, what's going on with you? Okay. Go outside, breathe some air, read some Deepak Chopra. Then obviously you got the comments about my voice too, right? It is what it is. They still happen. Last night, 1 a.m. Again, I was trying to get locked into this Nickelback episode. So I was trying to, like, soak in the hate, and see how I could triumph over it. And I read a comment about how Trevor has the greatest voice ever and Kyle holds Trevor back and all this BS. And Kyle's got to do something with his voice. And I've made the decision again, man. I'm going to start hacking 26 cigarettes a day to get this thing geared up for next October, because I'm tired. I'm tired of holding you back, man.
You never hold me back, bro. I think I hold you back, dude. You are the podcast meister, buddy. KyleBowen.com, doing things, making 28 podcasts every week, editing podcasts. You're the GOAT, buddy. We can smoke 26 cigarettes together, man. No problem.
Hacking darts and breaking hearts, man. But my voice will change, man. That's what the people want. That's what the people want, man.
It's not what the people want, man. Okay.
Why am I crying? Because I'm going against the nation, man. Okay. Kyle Bowen, Trevor Beggs, we're talking about it right now. Okay. How are you not going to cheer for Team USA when they face Hockey Canada at some part in these best on best tournaments coming over the next couple of years, when you got Hughes, Miller, Besser, Demko, all playing for your Vancouver Canucks? You've recently seen in our sports landscape here in the Great White North, right? Like, people are just itching to be prideful for anything Canadian, right? Like, it's like, oh, Edmonton's in the finals. Let's pack the bars nationwide and support the Oilers and Copa America. You see what happened yesterday? We're facing Argentina. We lose 2-0. Good effort, strong effort, did our best. The bars are packed. People just want to support Team Canada. That being said, the Vancouver Canucks, your Vancouver Canucks, they are very much so America's team.
Yeah, I think for me, here's the distinction I'm going to make when it comes to cheering for Canada and America. And look, I'm excited for the 4 nations, but what I'm really looking forward to, and I think we all feel the same way, is the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
But we all know it, right? Like, JT Miller, Brock Besser, Quinn Hughes, and Thatcher Demko are all likely to be on Team USA at the very least in 2025, February 2025, when they do the 4 nations, and likely at the Olympics as well. And in terms of other Canucks who are going to be playing internationally, I think Pettersson's a lock for Sweden. I think Hronek's a lock for the Czechs at the Olympics. Is there anyone else on the roster I'm missing who might be playing for their country? I mean, I'm not quite sure. Teddy Bluger with Latvia, you mean?
Latvia, sorry. Where's Pia Suter from? Is he from Switzerland? Like,
Pia
where's this guy?
Yeah.
There you go. There we
go.
Oh, bam! I'm doing my homework here. But again, like, I think based on Canucks fans' relationship with this core and our quote unquote newfound love with the Vancouver Canucks, like, how everyone's kind of feeling high again and feeling good to be cheering for the team in blue and green. It's just, again, the success of this core is making a lot of human beings feel like themselves, and it's in the hands of a lot of Americans. Whereas back in 2011 and 2014, or 2010, when the Olympics were, like, popping and all that jazz, like, I feel like the Canucks and their fan base had, like, years and years and years and years and years and years of consistent success, right? Like that, like our relationship to players were just different because we were just used to, again, the same thing. Like, we're going to have a good team. We may make it to the second round. We're contenders for the cup. Maybe, all that jazz. Whereas, again, it feels a little bit more intimate, and it's like our captain's American. Like Quinn Hughes is so fun to watch. JT Miller's so fun to watch. Thatcher Demko, like this guy's going into the last final 2 years of his deal. Like, think about all the injuries he's went to. Like, he's going to be so motivated. Like, some of America's best players are going to be our best players. And I wonder, I'm not saying like it's going to be USA versus Canada and I'm going to be rocking a USA jersey. I'm just saying for the first time in my best on best viewing experience, I'm going to be tuning into watching Team USA play some games. And a lot of that has to do with, again, my affection for the Vancouver Canucks. Or, again, do I want to watch the best team in hockey play hockey? Because the last time I checked, I know this sounds crazy, and I know Canada has a lot of talent too, but when I say top to bottom, the USA has the best team, because we have to talk about the bottom part. And if we want to put the goaltending at the bottom of the list, like, they're stacked. We have Jordan Bennington. He had a strong year last year, but man, oh man, like, top to bottom, Team USA, bro, they're going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think JT Miller might be like their third or fourth line center, right? If you look at it that way. So, look, I think the distinction I'm making is I'm cheering for Canada no matter what. Come on, I got the maple leaf on my shoulder, buddy. I'm cheering for Canada. But that being said, like, you do want to see the Canuck players have a successful tournament, right? And I don't know, maybe I'll feel differently when I'm watching this transpire, but I really do think that I'm still cheering for Canada no matter what. But yeah, you still want JT Miller to score. You want Brock Best to make an impact. You want Thatcher Demko to make a few big saves. You don't want the U.S. getting blown out. You want the Canucks stars to look like stars. And yeah, it's going to be interesting because, in the Four Nations Leagues coming up, the Canucks will have players on Sweden and USA, and then you're cheering for Canada. I think Finland's the only country you don't really care about, right? But there's emotional ties to the other three teams.
Yeah. No, real talk, man. Emotional ties. And again, just a viewing experience. Like, Vancouver Canucks fans are just going to want to watch really, really good hockey. And you're going to get that from Canada. And you're also going to get that from Team USA, which happens to be loaded potentially with your favorite Canucks. It's going to be fun, man. Best on Best is finally back. I'm really liking how united Canada seems to be right now when it comes to them itching to feel something in the world of sports, in the world of team sports, right? Like, you just get that vibe. Even though I was ridiculing and being pessimistic about it when they seem to come together for the Oilers, it's just reminding me of how fun it is, right? Like, how to just like watch sports with strangers and cheer for the same thing. It's a beautiful thing, and we're about to see it. Like, best on best hockey is finally back. It's like, how come it's been so long? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous. I mean, growing up, and again, we're getting sidetracked here, but it's July 10th, okay? It's Wednesday. Nothing is happening with your Vancouver Canucks. But like back in 2002, like that was when I really, really fell in love with hockey, right? 2001 was my introduction. Like Andrew Castles, Marcus Naslin, getting rocked by Colorado in the playoffs. But I just loved everything about the playoffs in 2001. Like, that was my introduction to the game. But 2002, Salt Lake City, that really was it for me, Like, watching that with my dad, watching it at his workplace, seeing everyone go crazy, that really made me fall in love with the game. And fast forward like 20 years later, and it's been what? Like, has it been 10 years since we've seen best on best? Like, that is absolutely embarrassing.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to count the World Cup of Hockey in 2016, that was the last best on best. But then you had like Team Europe, and you had the under 23 North America team. It was still fun to watch, but it felt like a little hokey to some extent. I mean, the last time we had best on best, and this is crazy, was February 2014, right? Canada beat Sweden for the gold medal, and I remember that because I still lived with my parents, and I would do this thing back when I was kind of in my late teens, early 20s, where I would house sit for my friend when she was on vacation. And I was house sitting with my friend. I still remember, like, I think I was having some herbs at very early hours of the morning because it was a weekend. Canada was playing. I was excited.
Yeah, it was like a 4:30 game, right? Like 3:30
yeah,
in
it was
the morning.
Like 4:30 in the morning. Yeah,
yeah.
It's been too long, man.
It's been too long.
On the other side, let's okay. I'll answer one question. Let's get to the other side. Are you cheering for it when Canada and US face off in Four Nations? Who are you cheering for?
I'm in the Four Nations Cup. Okay, that's a really good question because how much of a connection do I have to that tournament? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, what are we doing here? Like, first of all, there's only 4 teams playing. Like, how much does this tournament really matter? Who am I cheering for? Bro, honestly speaking, since it's the Four Nations Cup, you're hearing it right here. I'm cheering for Team USA because I'm cheering for Quinn Hughes. I'm cheering for Quinn Hughes, bro. Imagine the swagger this guy might get. You get what I'm saying? Like, imagine how many America's on the rise when it comes to hockey, man. And if I don't give a beep about the Four Nations Cup, if Miller, Demko, Hughes, and maybe Besser win a Four Nations Cup tournament and they just feeling themselves and they're playing good hockey and all that jazz, and now they got some of that swagger, you best believe they're going to carry some of that post-February next season. You know what I'm saying? So, America, my name's Kyle Bauer, and I'm a goddamn American.
America. Wow.
For the
That's
Four Nations
unbelievable,
Cup.
man.
Not the Olympics, but the Four Nations Cup.
Damn. Crazy stuff. Kyle Bound, a true American. Let's wrap up the show on the other side. Talk about some hate here on Locked On Canucks. All right. Before we get to that, we got to shout out our friends over at FanDuel. You know, we love sports and we never want them to stop. But as the playoffs have winded down, we get fewer games and the sports just aren't sporting like we want them to. But FanDuel, they keep you going whenever you want with the bets, okay? Because all you have to do is open that app and dream up bets anytime you're in the mood. Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah, if you're in the mood to make some bets, FanDuel, they're hooking up customers all summer long with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone, every day, all summer long. So make sure you head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, their official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
Bada bing, bada bing. People, we back doing this, and that's talking about everything but your Vancouver Canucks today. Pretty much. Sort of, kind of, not really, okay? Nickelback and best on best hockey tournaments. It is what it is, and what it is Locked On Canucks with Kyle Bowen and Trevor Beggs. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to it. It really helps us out a lot. And I'm excited to get better, man. I'm excited to, again, get on this regimen and try to make the people happy by getting my voice to change permanently. And I always say this, Trevor, for the people, for the viewers of anything we produce out here, I'm not going to sell my soul to them, but what I'm going to do is do what it takes to give them the best. Give them the best. And if they want my voice to change, I'm going to kick it back to the 60s and just smoke those darts, break my mama's heart, but change the voice, man. Let's get it more raspy. And October's around the corner. I'll be in my best shape and form. I'm ready for it, man. And we can't talk about it too much because I feel like this video might get removed because smoking is pretty bad. But all in all, I'm excited for the new version of myself.
Well, again, for those who don't know the story of Kyle's voice, I mean, you kind of documented it before, and there's a damn good reason for it. And
yeah,
if it's not for your talents downstairs, you might not have the voice you have. So I think you gotta embrace it, man. Like the fact that you were an all-star at going down to the basement and making things happen, okay, making things sticky. That's a talent that you got to be proud of, man. So I don't know if anyone else can do that. I mean, you're a better man than Jamie Benn, that's for sure.
Hey.
Let's wrap up the show with this question, okay? I want to talk about which Canuck is the most hated right now, okay? In honor of Nickelback. And more importantly, I think which Canuck can be the most hated going into next season. And I think my answer might surprise you, but I think right now, one of the most hated guys on the Canucks might be Connor Garland. Yeah. And I say that from the player's perspective, right? Like you talk to players around the league, they hate playing against this guy. I think what was it? I don't know if it was Luke Gazik talking about how much he hated playing against this guy in junior. But, I remember talking to other guys around the NHL, or like, I think I was in the Islanders room after the game. And one of the guys mentioned like Connor Garland's really hard to play against. He's the smallest guy out there, but he's so annoying. He's so good with the puck. You basically can't take the puck off this guy. But moving forward, I wonder about this. I wonder if JT Miller, I do think he's one of the most underrated superstars in this league. I think, we're going to do an episode about JT Miller, kind of the timeline of how he became surprisingly one of the best players in the NHL. But I do wonder if JT Miller has the potential to be one of the most hated guys in the NHL.
That's a good question. At the same time, though, I'm going to immediately say no, because I feel as if league wide, especially with like some of the 30-year-olds still kicking around in the league. I feel as if he's so respected because he's so genuine. This guy's got like that old American soul, you know what I'm saying? Just low maintenance, doesn't care about the limelight, doesn't have a smartphone, supposedly. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's such a genuine dude that everyone kind of respects the F out of him. That's kind of the sentiment that I'm feeling. Now, you mentioned Connor Garland, and I'm going to find a way to connect this to Nikita Zadorov pretty soon. I know. It's so irrelevant, but it's kind of relevant. Connor Garland, yeah. I think going into next season, if we're talking about the word hate, he definitely is the most hated Canuck. I feel as if the Canucks don't really have a lot of evil players, a lot of POS players. And Connor Garland isn't primarily one of those guys prior to the playoffs. Like, maybe that's when he starts chirping more and doing his thing. But having to play a guy shift in and shift out who just tries his ass off and more often than not, somehow, some way comes out with the puck, even though he's 4'6", is very, very annoying. And annoyance does stem a little bit of hate to come out of you, right? So the equation is there. But man, oh man, like, now you're really making me think, like, how much hate do you think you need individually on a team? Because we had some of that with Nikita Zadorov, and now that's gone. Now I will make the rebuttal or play devil's advocate. I think that being an antagonist, and that's what Zadorov fed off of, right? I think it has its pros, but it definitely has its cons too. And I think all the extra stuff that Zadorov was doing from games 1 to game 5, like, it made him shine bright, but it also had him expend a lot of energy on Evander Kane. And Evander Kane sucks. Like, he sucked last year. And that's who Zadorov is spending a lot of his time focusing on, right? And look at what happened in game 6 and game 7. I'm not blaming Zadorov for the losses, but he was a number 6 defenseman. That's all he was.
Yeah. No, you make a great point. And probably, we got caught up in that playoff hysteria so much, but I do believe the Canucks made the right choice in not signing him to that deal that he signed with the Boston Brewers. I think that was
Dude, they wanted it. Okay, you know what? Maybe we'll talk more about this tomorrow. Supposedly, they offered him the same deal, but not the same role. You know what I'm saying? Like, supposedly. Who knows? Well, okay, we got a lot to talk. We don't have a lot to talk about this week, but maybe we'll bring that up because, again, he just got introduced to the Boston media, and it's touching a couple spots. Anyways, let's get to the comments. Man, oh man, Nickelback doing its thing. It doesn't really get the people going, you know? I think Trevor and I are just alone on this boat when we say Nickelback is the reason why we're here today. Like, why don't you tell the people that about your wedding song? Wasn't it a Nickelback song? Wasn't
No,
it?
it definitely wasn't. No, it was a dude called Trevor Hall.
Oh, not
So I have an ego, bro. I had to pick an artist with my own name.
I want to get a big rock star. Yeah, so Nickelback, one love to you, one love to Best on Best tournaments. Let's get to some comments. Mother Knucker, okay? Mother Knucker 22, I just DM'd you. Try to come on the show on Friday, okay? Let's do Friday. Fan Fridays. Mother Knucker from America saying, is it really Best on Best without Russia? No, it isn't. No, it isn't, because the second best player in the world, or the third best player in the world, or the fifth best player in the world, wherever you want to put Nikita Kucherov, he's not going to be playing. The 8th best player in the world, maybe the number 2 best player in the world when things are really, really serious, Vasilevsky, he's not going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, if those guys aren't quote unquote playing, it's not Best on Best. That's something that,
and you think of some of the young Russian like Michkov, maybe Matvei Michkov can make that. Obviously, Ovechkin as well. Like, there's some big guns out there.
Yeah, no, 100%. How about this from Grim Studio? I know Seattle really hates Tyler Myers. I think there's a lot of truth to this. Matty Beniers, I think he suffered a concussion because Tyler Myers just, like, I don't know what the hell this guy was doing that one play in Seattle. And I don't even, knock on wood, because all the love to the world to everyone playing in the NHL, but Beniers was not the same last year.
No, he really wasn't. Yeah. And I know, shout out to Grim Studio for that comment. I know I've heard a couple Kraken analysts appear on the radio and basically say that, Tyler Myers is still really hated in Seattle among that fan base because of that play. So, maybe I'm a little happier with the Myers signing now, because I think we need more hate on this Canucks team. Like you mentioned, Kyle, there's not a lot of guys who are easy to hate. But I think we got to get out of here. Okay. Okay. Last up, Callum Sanduda, anyone who watched Canada versus Argentina I did not. I was busy with the fam. So I watched the highlights this morning, not knowing what had happened. And so, yeah, it's basically watching the game on speed, man. So it's kind of fun. But, hey, shout out to Canada. And they still have a chance for third place, which is pretty cool as well. But Kyle, I gotta get out of here, buddy.
We'll talk about it another time. Do your thing, man. Soccer fans, hockey fans, people hate soccer diving and all that stuff. It's just funny dialogue, right? Because a lot of players dive in hockey as well. Anyways, Begsy, sign us out. Let's get out of here.
All right. Shout out to the everydayers, occasional listeners, first-time listeners, new subscribers, and those of you who joined us on the live show on YouTube. Whenever you're listening, wherever you're listening, we appreciate the hell out of you for tuning in to Locked On Canucks. Okay. I got to get my list going, okay? I'm a big list guy. I think there's a lot of list content we could do here on Locked On Canucks. Have some fun with it. We want to get into JT Miller's timeline. I want to do a little Heinen versus Sherwood episode. Which guy could have the bigger impact? Again, we got your back every damn day throughout the month of July and down to part-time in August. But remember, we never really leave you, okay? We're always still around like a leech that, hopefully you like. Anyways, okay. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bound. And you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.
Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast